Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of the Kids at Heart podcast. This is Am. I am one of the co-hosts, along with Joe, the casual nerd. What's up,
What's
Joe?
up? Not much. How about you?
I'm excited. Are you excited?
Oh, I'm very excited. Been
Yeah.
looking forward to this. This is gonna be
Uh,
cool.
yeah. Okay. From the scale of 1 to 10, 10 being super excited. How excited are you?
11. 11.
11.
I've got that sort of like that nervous excitement of like just it's gonna be cool. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I had a hard time falling asleep yesterday because it's daytime right now. So I was like rolling around and be like, hey man, oh man, I'm so excited. But we'll get back to you later, Joe. Mike, Mike Plamo Daddy O. What's
How's
up,
it going?
Mike?
Hey,
I'm
excited to be
going
here.
good. 1 to 10. How
1 to
excited?
10.
11.
I have to go with Joe because I was thinking the exact same thing when he said it. I feel like I'm at an 11. I've been thinking about this for like the last couple of days and all day today. You know,
Yeah.
mostly excited and maybe a little bit scared, but mostly excited.
Yeah. I think that's actually how I feel like at the moment. It's like, oh, it's a little bit of like that nervousness, but you're like excited at the same time as well.
Right.
So yeah, Kids at Heart, we are from different countries actually, right?
hmm
How did we meet? Do you all remember when was the first time we actually haven't met in person?
No.
See, the first time I remember talking to you directly was whenever you were doing you were taking submissions for people to do the Hex Gear around the world. And
Yeah.
I remember contacting you saying like I'd be interested in it. And I didn't hear back for a while. And then I heard back from you. I'm like, oh, okay. And then you and I started talking and I ended up being on one of the episodes. And I, I'm in your Discord, and I have not stopped talking to you since.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Mike is actually one of the mods for um the Discord server that I'm running. So thank you, Mike, for your hard work. Really appreciate it. And Joe, was it? I think it was the same kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're all here because of the Hex Gear around the world um series you did on your YouTube channel. And yeah, like I well, I think we sort of reached out to each other sort of around the same time. Like I commented on something that you'd posted, like a Hexagear kit, and you did the same thing, and we were like, oh, and I was like, hey, yeah, I saw your like this that series you're doing. Like I'm really happy to see you talking about Hexagear, and you were
Mhm.
like, yeah, we should do the thing. So that's basically just like Mike. That's sort of what happened there, and then ended up in the Discord group. And yeah, I talk to you guys more than I talk to my wife now, I think.
That's funny. Yeah, I think Joe, I think it was actually Instagram for Joe. I think for Mike, I think it was Facebook first.
Right.
Was it
Because
Facebook? I think it was Facebook first.
right. Because I remember seeing your channel before I got onto the Hex Gear group on Facebook. Uh,
Mhm.
because that was the time when I was trying to figure out if I wanted to give Hex Gear a shot or not. And there are not very many videos online having to do with Hex Gear, and yours was
Mhm.
one of them. And yeah, and I remember going onto the Facebook group and then seeing that you were like a moderator there, which I thought was pretty funny. But you know, that's kind of the pathway I guess I ultimately got, like squirmed into your hearts.
Squirming
and,
into your hearts.
and we're all in the poison wonderland right now. For our viewers and listeners, they are not, special guests, but we will be hosting this together, different countries, different time zones. Yeah, I'm from Malaysia and it's 11:30 a.m. on a Sunday. What about you guys?
I'm in the American Southwest and it is 8:30 over here, PM here. The day before you, right? Yeah, you're in the future.
I'm living in the future.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, by a fair bit too. It's pretty awesome. I'm in Canada, like central Canada. So I just looked at the time and then I forgot. It's 10:28 p.m. So like I've been up for a while. I've had a
Yeah,
couple of
yeah.
coffees, an energy drink.
Nice.
It's ready to go.
Ready to go. Okay, so we're gonna talk a little bit about the idea behind this podcast, and also the first topic for our podcast is gonna be Joe. You're gonna have the honor to share with us what is the title or the topic for the first podcast.
Oh man, you put me on the spot. So it's the kits that made us, right? So
Yeah.
what got us into the hobby,
Mhm.
and we're just gonna talk about that a little bit. Did you want me to actually start with the kit that made me?
What do you think, Mike?
Or-
Do you think
Well-
Joe should start, or we can, or we should
I'd
talk
say,
about?
start
Huh?
where it began. Yeah, give us just a little history
Yeah.
of where it bloomed, and then give us an idea of the progression to today.
All right.
Sounds good.
So way back when I was in high school, 20 some odd years ago, and I don't even remember exactly, because I started with Gunpla, and the very first Gundam I had ever really seen happened to be the Gundam Double X. It was a high grade kit, like old school high grade, before they had like really nice high grade kits. And I was at this local shop that had some anime and stuff like that, and I was just blown away. Like I'd played a couple mecha video games. Like I think I was playing Armored Core at the time, and I was just really and there's this awesome robot and it had huge guns. And so I picked that up and I built it very poorly. I used like nail clippers to clip parts off the runners. And it was also the first kit I ever actually tried to paint, because I got it and I thought, oh, this looks cool. But then I wanted to like paint it. So I painted it up. And yeah, that sort of really kind of started the journey, because there was this one store in town that had a couple of kits. And then like I discovered Hobby Link Japan, which M's familiar with, and
Yeah.
which we all are. But so it was, I found that, and then it just really opened up like all these other things, and just kind of went from there. And like I was really drawn to the master grades for a while, because they had like opening cockpits, which I thought was, I don't know, it was just awesome. I'm like, wow, like you can actually see where the pilot goes. And then it kind of went from there, which is actually what led me to Hex Gear, because I always liked the idea that they had this gimmick, but the pilot figures basically like a little bit longer than a grain of rice. And I was like, it would be cool if there was something where like the pilot was its own articulated figure. And I started looking for that, and that's when I discovered Hex Gear. And then it went from there. It just kind of exploded. So that's my journey that got me here, abridged. I could talk about it for a very long time.
That's funny. So Gunpla and now Hex Gear. What about you, Mike?
Okay, so my journey starts way back when I was a much shorter Mike. And I remember my dad got me a like mail subscription thing to, I want to say it was Revell or whoever did like the snap tight kits way back in the 80s. And just like models would come in like once a month, and they were like cars and stuff, like a police car, some kind of like hot rod, a truck. And I think there was only like 3 of them, but that I had gotten in that. It was probably a trial sub or something like that, I bet. But I remember enjoying those quite a bit. Fast forward quite a bit to about 2000, 2001. And I remember this was around the time when Gundam Wing was getting really big on Cartoon Network. And there was like a big craze going on, and anime like on Toonami, and was was getting really huge. So stuff like, you know, Trigun and Cowboy Bebop, Evangelion, and Gundam Wing were all over the place. Like at GameStop, I remember I went to one, and they had these model kits, and they were the old 1/100 scaled HG kits. And I ended up picking up the Wing Gundam, and I took it home, and I didn't even use nail clippers. I kind of wish I knew I could have used nail clippers. I think I probably twisted those pieces right off the runner, which makes me cringe when I think about that. But I put it together, and it was a really cool and fun process. But at that point in time, I didn't think that Gundam was or Gunpla was all that big of a deal. And so I didn't like really seek it out after that, because I never really saw it anywhere else. And fast forward about what were we going on, about 6 years ago now, where I came across the Gunpla subreddit on Reddit, and I saw a lot of the builds on there. I'm like, whoa, that's really cool. I wish I could do that. I could never do anything like that. And then a friend of mine, I remember once, was telling me about how, you know, it is a lot of fun. And he recommended checking out like a high grade Gundam. He's like, just check it out. He's like, they're not that expensive. And so I did. And yeah, it was the HG Barbatos from Iron Blood Orphans. And
Mm.
it's not my favorite Gundam to to this day, but still it was a lot of fun. And what I had like sitting on my desk right there, looking at it like I had just built that, I'm like, that is awesome. And so Gunpla kind of like had me for a while, had me for a few years. And then I honestly just kind of got bored of it. And I stopped building for a little while, took a bit of a break, and I came back, and I built a Gunpla kit. I'm like, nah, that's all right. And then I built some other stuff. I built some of the Bandai Star Wars stuff. I built like the real grade Evangelion stuff that they had. And then I got into actually uh, Musume kits, Mecha Musume
Mm.
kits, and that really revived my model building. And then from there, I kind of just kept expanding out, and especially when getting into Kotobukiya, which ended up leading me to Hex Gear, which these were the kind of things that like when I was still building Gunpla, I was looking at being like, man, that's kind of cool, but I don't know, I'm like really into this Gundam stuff right now. But like at that point, it felt like, oh, this is my time. And yeah, I gave Hex Gear a try, and it is one of my favorite lines to this day still. And I look forward to all the new stuff that's coming out.
Yeah, thanks Mike for your story, and yeah, thanks Joe as well. Well, for me, my journey is very different than the both of you guys. Gunpla has been around like forever, right? Since the 80s. Was it the 80s? I
Yeah, I
think
think
the
the early
80s.
80s.
Yeah, since the 80s. Yeah, living in Malaysia, I'm I guess I'm exposed to Gunpla or Gundam. They're just everywhere, even in
Mhm.
the hobby store as well. But I just didn't have the chance or really get into it because I think it was a little bit overwhelming for me. Like for somebody who doesn't really know about Gundam, and when you go into a
Mhm.
store, there are just so many of them, and they all look different yet kind of similar at the same
Right.
time. You get what I
Mhm.
mean? So
Mhm.
I guess my earliest memory would be a one of those Tamiya cars.
Oh, huh.
Those yeah, like the Tamiya cars where you can put like battery and then
Mhm.
those are model kits, right? I think those are model kits.
Yeah, yeah.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah, like yeah. But I think it was about 2 years ago. Over here, I still have it. This is actually my very first plastic model kit.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
You know what is this? Of course,
Oh, yeah, Star Destroyer.
from Star Wars, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, the reason I got this is because I was like, I went to the store. They're actually a, Bandai distributor in Malaysia, so they have lots of Gunpla, but this is very cheap. I think it's like
Mhm.
I don't know, like $5-6 something like that,
Right.
or maybe yeah. So I'm like, okay. I was talking to the guy. I was like, I didn't have any experience. He's like, okay, you can try with this thing right here. So this was my first kit. And yeah, and after that, I actually stopped for a little bit. I went to Japan, went to Akihabara, went to this store called Kotobukiya. I was like, man, what are these things? They are so different. And I think it was the second floor. That's where I met Hex Gear, which changed my life, changed everybody's life. Um, yeah, and it was December 2019. I got my first Hex Gear. It was the A1 Governor. And after that, I actually stopped building for like 6 months. But when the pandemic was, getting kind of serious, like we all were, at least in Malaysia, we were under lockdown, and I'm like, man, I need to get something going. So I started to order from Hobby Link Japan, and I started to, check out Hexagear because they are kind of niche, in Malaysia. There are not that many stores that carry Hexagear. But yeah, eventually I got into it, and that was one of the, I guess that was the main reasons why I started my YouTube channel. It's because of Hexagear. And this is where we are now. Hexagear buddies.
And I
Yeah.
remember back when I talked to you when we did the Hex Gear around the world, I was still relatively new to it. I would say like
Mhm.
last year, I built quite a bit of Hexagear kits and I had fun with each of them. And I absolutely love them. I mean, they're probably like my number two, I'd say, favorite line of kits that I'm working with right now.
What's your number one? Still your
Number one,
Musume kit. Yeah.
yeah, it's the Nuke Matrix stuff, Chinese Plamo girls. They've put out 3 kits so far, and I've built 2 of them, and those 2 were probably my number 1 and number 2 favorite kits from last year.
This is what I think we want to do, is to really involve you guys, the viewers, the listeners. It's like, if you guys have anything that you want to ask, and you'd be like, hey, I'm interested to find out this or that, then maybe we can kind of talk about it too.
Yeah, ask
Or
us any interesting
Mhm.
questions. I mean, we'll go through them. We'll pick some of the best ones that we can find, or some of the meanest ones we can find too.
Yeah, for sure. Like, because to put it out there, at least for me, like I'm not a competition builder. I'm not a pro.
Mhm.
But I think what the 3 of us have in common is we love building, right? Like
Mhm.
and that's why we're doing this, because it's still kind of like not the most well-known hobby, right? Like it's still, even with Gunpla being as huge as it is, like there's still aren't a ton of people who do it. Like I have no real life friends
Mhm.
who build, right? And so it's, and especially like Kotobukiya's lines and like Hexagear, like it brought us together, and it's kind of a really cool, like really cool line, because there's a lot of variety within it, but it's all compatible.
Mhm.
And it's just, but yeah, like we're not pros, or at least I don't
Mhm.
consider myself a pro, but
No,
we
we're
want to
not.
talk to you
I'm not.
guys about like our love and your love of building these kits and just having fun with it, and talking
Yeah.
about the fact that it's a really wonderful hobby,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
it's, I don't know, it's tactile, and it keeps your mind busy. Like it's good,
Yeah,
especially, oh sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's one of those kind of like mundane things that you can just kind of get lost into.
Hmm. Yeah, like you can turn on music and just kind of like zone out. You can watch TV while you're doing it.
Mhm.
And it's been a lifeline, I think, for a lot of people with the pandemic, right?
Mhm.
Like, you were
Mhm.
saying, like you really got into it because like you're spending a lot of time at home, and it, it's constructive. Like you finish it and you can say, I've completed something. I've spent my time doing something, and you know, I now have, it's
Mhm.
almost like a trophy at the end of it. You're like, look
Mhm.
what I built. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's the best.
That's the thing that does it for me. It's that feeling of that you get when you're done and you take pictures. But of course, like with me, it seems like almost every one of my like done pictures, it's like done for now, kind of pictures.
Yeah.
But even still, it's it's like Joe said, it's that feeling when you see it, you're like, I did that. And
Yeah.
you can look around on it and you can see little details and stuff that you may have worked on or done that just make you go, that was that, taking a little bit of extra time to do this or that was worth it in the end when you look at it. And especially when you put it on the shelf and it's one of those kind of things like I have certain builds on my shelves that I'll look at and I'll just catch myself staring at them.
Oh yeah.
And almost in wonder, like I built that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, you feel a little bit like just kind of do like that's mine. Like I'm looking at some of my stuff and I'm like, it's just, yeah, you're like, I can't believe I put that together. Like
Mhm.
it's very cool.
Satisfying. So
Mhm.
satisfying,
satisfying.
and you just feel accomplished, you know. For me, it's like the whole process is very therapeutic.
Mhm.
Yeah, for me, I cannot listen to music or watch movies. For me, I'm just in the zone, you know. It's like I gotta, yeah, I just stay in the zone and just build and just have fun with it, right? I think essentially that's kind of like the heart behind this podcast, Kids at Heart.
Mhm.
And we've got t-shirt, Kids at Heart. Not sure if you guys can see it. Show off the Kids at Heart t-shirt.
Representing the Mirrorland over here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think yeah, we're gonna be involving you guys, the community. Maybe we can even bring in, some guests on our show eventually down the line.
Mhm.
Perhaps giveaways as well. So yeah, I think for the first episode, just kind of share with you guys a little bit about our journey, who we are, as well as the heart behind this podcast. And I know that, as time goes by, it's gonna get better. We're gonna be spending more time. Our chemistry, the vibe, everything is gonna be much better. Not that now it's bad. I think now it's good.
No, I think it's fine. It's just weird seeing you guys' faces and hearing voices and stuff. That's just instead of just
Eh,
text on screen.
Yep.
Yeah, because we text like every day,
Yeah.
Yep.
and then we
And
just
if
we just
anything,
share. Mhm.
and if anything, come back to future episodes for Joe. Like look at him right here, right there. There's
Yeah,
Joe. Come back for this
yeah.
guy.
Look at all
Yep.
the stuff that he has. I don't even have that much stuff right here.
Well, so it's I guess I totally skipped over a part of my journey, but it was I stopped building for a while,
Yeah.
and focused a lot on Transformers because I grew up with
Mhm.
Transformers,
Hmm.
kind of went to
Right.
Gundam, back to Transformers, and so like for a lot of what I was doing, I was collecting uh stuff, and specifically like third party, not official
Mhm.
Transformers stuff because it just looked so cool, and loved taking pictures of them. And that was
Hmm.
sort of, the middle ground because I stopped building for like 15 years before I found
Mhm.
Hex Gear again because I was kind of like, I don't know, I was looking for that thing. But yeah, like
Mhm.
I have a lot of just already built robots that weren't me, but they're super articulated and they're fun to take pictures of because I like to take pictures of my stuff.
And your
It
And
helps
if
pictures are
get,
anybody's not
nice.
following Joe on Instagram,
Yeah.
you need to go check him out because his toy photography is great. I always look forward to new stuff.
well,
Yeah,
thank you. I
for sure.
appreciate that.
And you can show us your, all your figures and kits next time in the near future.
Yeah.
Anything else that you wanna add on before we say thank you for listening?
Uh, just like Mike was saying, when the advice he got was just give it a try. If you're not a builder and you're
Yeah.
like, man, I really want to give it a try, do it. Just
Mhm.
just go for it. The instructions are always super clear. You can
Yeah.
take your time with it, but give it a try. If you're on the
Hmm.
fence and you're not sure, go pick something up, give it a try. There's a lot of really good like entry stuff. You can get into
Mhm.
30-minute missions. They're
Yep.
inexpensive, they're quick builds, but just try it. Do it
Yeah.
Mhm.
because
If
it's so rewarding.
As long as you can follow picture instructions, it's really easy. Actually, anybody can honestly do it. And that's what I love, I think, about this hobby. It's like anybody can honestly do it.
Yeah, anybody
Yep.
with or without experience. It's good.
Yep.
All right, I think we're gonna wrap up for our first episode. Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you so much, Joe. Shout out to people who have been watching my channel. And for those of you who are listening or watching for the first time, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We're gonna have more stuff for you guys, and leave us some comments so that we can check it out and share it with your friends. Watch it while you are building. You know, I think that's it. All right, ciao guys. Thank you for listening. See you the next time.
See ya.